That's what happened. Let me take this caller. Caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and/or question?
It's John from Mississippi again. I too, actually, very early on, back, when it was still 17 of them running, I think, I put all my money on Marco Rubio. I thought it all the way through, and as the election went on, I just got more and more confident. And once Iowa happened, I was like, "Yep, that's it. It's over. It's Marco." And then Christie and his,
he eviscerated
to do
him.
anything attitude.
But hang on. It wasn't just the willing to do anything. It was he found Marco Rubio's weakness. He knew it intuitively. He didn't get it from, I don't think he had any type of political spies that told him this is what Marco Rubio was doing. I think he just read Marco Rubio like a poker player, and he played him like a deck of cards. So to me, he wasn't just willing to do anything. He did exactly what needed to be done. And, you have to be prepared for that.
He did it knowing that if this don't work, it hurts them in the general. And Christie's done that before. He did the same thing to Romney. He did similar things to Romney,
Yeah, I remember that. I recall that.
When he was asked about Hurricane Sandy, he's like, well, fuck Romney, basically. I'm sorry to use that language, but that was kind of his attitude at the time. Threw him under the bus for his future, because he knew one day he might have to run for president.
Right. But I can't, you know what? And John, I hear you and I appreciate the call. I got to grab this next caller. But the one thing I want to press is, even if that was the case with Christie just throwing a Hail Mary, right? Marco Rubio, you got to be strong enough, man, to handle an exchange like that. Who gets into a confrontation and does one thing? Apparently Marco Rubio. And he did it a total of 4 times. He crashed and burned, like he died 4 times on stage that night. And then on the 4th time, you could see the life just coming out of him. You could just see the soul just evaporating out of him as he realized, oh God, Christie has just pimp slapped me 5 times and there's nothing I can do about it. I would never have guessed. And I guess in this regard, Christie had a better read on Marco Rubio, far better read. Light years better read on Marco Rubio than I did, right? I pegged Marco Rubio for the most shrewd politician up there. Christie said no. Christie learned me something. I learned something from Christie. Marco Rubio was far from the shrewdest candidate up there. He was the weakest candidate up there. And Christie, being the shark that he is, and he was, smelled blood in the water, and he attacked. And I just don't think that there's any other way that you could break that down. So I don't know. Part of me now wants to circle back to the Florida election where he beat Charlie Crist and the other young man. What is the other guy's name? Well, in the Florida election, he whipped Charlie Crist, and he whipped the Democrat, and the guy, Kendrick Meat. I didn't have to look it up. Good. Kendrick Meat. He whipped Charlie Crist and Kendrick Meat for the senatorial seat, and he whipped them bad. Now, you don't get weaker over the years. I don't think you do. Not when you're playing a political game. You get stronger over the years. So Marco Rubio was this programmed and this week in 2010 when he destroyed Christie and Kendrick Meat, 2 Democrats, 1 independent, 1 Democrat. My question is, how much weaker did they have to be to not pick up on on Marco Rubio? It doesn't even matter at this point. Marco Rubio is done. And I would be surprised. Now, I did see one poll that tried to say he's actually inching up in New Hampshire. I just can't imagine that trend is going to continue once the internet gets done with them. Caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and